Hello, how's it going? I think I'm live. If I am live and you can see me and you can hear me, comment below. So throw me a hashtag live. Newbie, if you're new, if this is your first Monday night live, throw a hashtag newbie in the comments below. If you're watching this in the future, throw me a hashtag replay. So one thing you'll find with me on these Monday night lives, I do love engagement. Reason being is so that I'm not just talking to myself for 15 minutes, half an hour, because this is a bit longer. So I can see there's two people live. So I'm just checking there. So I can see there's Lynn, Sandy. I can see there's 3 others on. 6 people already. Awesome. So say hello, ladies. Say hello in the comments below. I'm really looking forward to this evening. I feel like I have got an awesome live lined up for you. So I speak to so many women that tell me I eat healthy. Like, why am I not losing weight? I eat healthy. In fact, one of our client success stories. So if you don't know where to find all of the videos we've done in this group, so we've done a live every single Monday this year. If you don't know where to find all of this stuff, if you go to the guides at the top of the group, there's a whole section of client success stories with before and after pictures and all sorts. One of the ladies in there, Sarah, she had literally lost, I think it was about 7 pounds in 2 years, something like that, something like a couple of pounds within 2 years. When she came to see me, she was like, it can't be my diet. I eat healthy. And, she ate like avocado and quinoa and like beautiful food, like what most people would consider healthy food. So it's like, it can't be my diet. I eat really healthy. Well, tonight I'm going to absolutely blow that out of the water. When people join Weight Watchers, Diet Club, Slim World, they'll go, it's healthy eating. Well, I'm going to show you that eating healthy doesn't actually really mean anything. It's really subjective. It's not very helpful. And I'm going to show you all of that tonight. So if you're looking forward to this, press the like button, press the love heart button. Let me know you're excited in the comments. In fact, if any of that introduction resonates with you, if you're eating healthy, or if you've ever eaten healthy food and just not seen any change in your body shape at all, let me know in the comments below. So we've got 10 people live already, which is awesome. Sarah says hello. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Julie Simpson, Julie Courtney. Thanks for saying hello, ladies. It's always good to have some engagement. By the way, don't be shy to ask questions. So if you think any of the stuff that I'm saying, you don't believe it, or you want me to explain more so that you do believe it, or so it does make sense, let me know in the comments. Feel free to drop questions. I'm not someone who just expects you to just believe me, just because I'm here, just because I'm a nutritionist, a sports scientist, just because we have an incredible program. Challenge me, question me. I'm more than happy to explain things because I want you to understand the truth. I want to save you money. I want to stop you going to places where you are not genuinely being helped. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Helen. Hey, Louise. Loads of people on. Awesome. So problem number 1 that I'm going to get to. So I'm going to underline 3 big problems, and I'm going to explain kind of how we approach things differently and why. So the first big problem is that health is subjective. So what that means is, in general, health is, or what is considered healthy, especially when it comes to eating healthy, there is no exact science. All right. Now, when people say I'm eating healthy or I eat healthy food, generally what it means is it's high in nutrients. So lots of vitamins, minerals, lots of macronutrients. Macronutrients are like your carbs, fats, protein. So things like nuts, avocado, vegetables, fruit, people would probably say that they're healthy, right? And I'm not disagreeing with that in the respect that they have lots of nutritional content. Okay, so got loads of nutrition. And then when people talk about foods that are unhealthy or eating unhealthy, they talk about foods that haven't really got any nutritional value. But what I want to distinguish here is that there is a continuum. Okay, there isn't black and white. And with nutrition and with diet, there is never black and white. It's not this or this, or there's only one way or the other. So what I mean by that is these foods that you would consider unhealthy, they don't cause ill health. If you were to eat a donut, that wouldn't make you unhealthy. If you were to eat one donut, If you were to go and have a McDonald's, that wouldn't make you unhealthy. So the poison is only as effective as the dose. Obviously, if you're continually eating food with low nutritional value, with not much in terms of vitamins and minerals and micronutrients and all of that stuff, then yeah, it's probably not going to be great for your health, because you need to get that stuff into your body. Like fats are needed because they're needed for hormones. Carbs are needed because they're used for energy. Your brain uses glucose from carbs to run. Okay, it can use ketones when you don't have any carbs, but it prefers glucose. Protein is needed for bones, muscles, skin, hair, everything in the body. Micronutrients are needed for like cell repair. Like there's so many benefits. So you need those nutrients. So your diet has to have foods that you'd consider healthy, like it has to have nutritional. But actually having something that isn't considered healthy isn't going to cause ill health. Okay, there's a spectrum. All right, and having KFC or Domino's takeaway once in every now and again is not going to cause you to be unhealthy. What matters is the sum of your diet, what you eat for healthfully. So if you're with me so far, if this is making sense, let me know in the comments saying makes sense. So when we talk about eating healthy, like we also need to understand that health, okay, is really subjective. There's 3 areas of health. So there's social health, like as in being sociable, being with people. There's physical health, which is what most people are talking about. And then there's emotional, mental health. So you think bodybuilders, absolutely ripped, 6 packs, really, really lean. Actually, they wouldn't be considered by most people healthy. Most, or a large percentage, more than half of bodybuilders have been found to have eating disorders or some form of disordered eating. So straight away, there's like ill mental health. They avoid social occasions. They don't go out for dinner. They can't, have a social life like someone normally would in a lot of cases. So they're not socially very healthy. Physically, they might look healthy, but again, in some cases, like especially in female bodybuilders, they have amenorrhea, which is really not healthy. They lose their periods. So they're not physically healthy. So again, it's really subjective. Now, when you're eating your diet, like if you're going to have just literally chicken, broccoli and rice, and you're going to eat out Tupperware and you're not going to go out for dinner with friends, you're not going to go out for meals with loved ones, you're going to get anxiety because of you're worried about what you can eat, what you can't eat, or can I have a drink? If you're going to feel guilty about what you're eating, that's not healthy. When we talk about the emotional and psychological and mental side, if you're eating and then you're punishing yourself with exercise, if you're eating and you're feeling guilty about it because you're not supposed to eat those foods, then that's not healthy in terms of psychologically. And if you're avoiding social occasions because you're worried about it, that's not healthy socially. And actually, if you're eating healthy foods and gaining weight, that's not healthy physically. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this because a lot of people will say, well, I'm healthy, I exercise and I eat well. And there is there's more context here. So you might have heard of health at every size, HAES. So if you've heard of that, let me know in the comments below. And essentially what that states is that you can be healthy at every size. No matter whether you're overweight, obese, whatever, you can be healthy at every size. I think there needs to be more context here. So yes, by eating more nutritious food, you can improve your health markers. However, if you're overweight or obese, despite improving the health of your diet in terms of eating more nutritious foods, you can only improve your health to a certain respect. If you're gaining weight and you're going into those overweight, obese categories, but you're eating healthy food, physically, you're not improving your health. And actually, you're going to put yourself at greater risk of, heart disease, diabetes. The biggest cause of diabetes isn't sugar, it's gaining fat. So I just want to be really, really clear on that. If your goal is to improve your health, weight loss, fat loss will play a role in that. Now, yes, you can improve your health without losing weight, without losing body fat. 100%. If you improve your diet, you exercise, you can improve your health. You can then further improve your health by reducing your body fat. Having body fat, visceral fat, it obviously increases your risk. You don't obviously need me to tell you that. So health is really subjective. So that's the first kind of problem. And hopefully this is kind of clearing it up for you, that you don't have to have this like all or nothing approach where you're not allowed sugar and you're not allowed this and you're not allowed that. Like you can include all foods. Remember, they're on a spectrum, and the foods down the other end of the spectrum where you consider unhealthy, like they can be included. They're not going to cause ill health. So this leads me on to the second problem. Eating healthy doesn't equal weight loss and doesn't necessarily lead to improved health outcomes. So I'll give some like examples. So most people would say that, you know, you're better off choosing white rice over brown rice, or you're better off choosing white potatoes over sweet potatoes over white potatoes. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you've been led to believe that you have to cut out carbs, or you need to choose brown rice over white rice, or you need to choose sweet potato over white potato, or brown pasta over white pasta. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know, because I want to clear up as many myths as I can about healthy food. So I'm just going to check the comments. So makes sense. Awesome. As long as we eat a well-balanced diet. So Rachel, yes, but again, that's subjective. A well-balanced diet is going to be different for you than it is for someone else. Like no one is the same and needs the same amount of anything. Okay, it depends on activity level, depends on lifestyle, depends on goals. So again, when we work with clients, we don't want to be subjective. We want to be objective and be really, really clear on this is what works and this is what's going to work for you. Okay. So one of the reasons, go back to that problem number one, one of the reasons our clients have a balanced approach, as in they include the stuff they love, is for overall health. If they like a glass of wine, if they like going out for dinner, then it's important to have that incorporated in their lifestyle. It's important to have that incorporated in their diet, because if they don't, one, it's not sustainable, but two, it's not healthy, because it's going to impact their social health and their mental health. But going back to, eating healthy doesn't equal weight loss. So going back to the point about white rice versus brown rice, white pasta versus brown pasta, there's very little difference. The reason people suggest brown over white is because there's slightly more fiber, but there's still nutritional value in potatoes. There's loads of nutrients in potatoes. In fact, research will show they're one of the most satiating foods that you can eat, one of the most fillings. So if you prefer brown rice over white, perfect. Keep eating brown rice. Personally, it takes ages to cook, tastes like bullets. I'm not a fan. I'd rather eat white rice. And the small amount of benefit from having brown over white, for me, is negligible. Like there is small amount, like there's more fiber slightly. There's maybe some more nutrients that you wouldn't get from white rice, but there's still nutrients within white rice. So that's the first thing, is, clearing up that. But the second thing is, so in fact, I'm going to ask you a question. So which would you consider healthier? Cocoa Pops or Special K? So which one do you consider healthier? Cocoa Pops or Special K? Well, in terms of for weight loss, there's very little difference. Special K has been marketed, and it, by the branding, the colors, the pictures, like it's always pictured with fruit. It's marketed as a healthy option. In terms of for weight loss, there isn't really much difference. Nutritionally, Special K probably is better nutritionally, like has slightly more fiber, slightly more in terms of nutritional value. But again, it's not massive. So if the rest of your diet has got, fruit, veg, protein, like has all the nutrients you need. If you choose Cocoa Pops or Special K in the morning, it's not probably going to make much difference in terms of weight loss. And what you need to understand is that when we talk about like foods being on this spectrum of like nutritious and less nutritious, I don't like to use the words healthy, not healthy, because they don't cause ill health. And obviously these are more nutritious. So more nutritious foods like fruit and veg, and not very nutritious foods, processed foods, sugary foods, not really much or any nutritional value. Okay. When we think about that, there's also a spectrum of calorie denseness. So what I mean by that is foods that are high in calories. If a food is calorie dense, it's got a lot of energy for what it is. And there's another spectrum for that. So we've got calorie dense foods up here. And most people straight away would go, well, you know, that's going to be like fast food. That's going to be sugary stuff. And then at the other end, like calorie poor foods, foods low in calories, and therefore good for weight loss, you're going to have like vegetables and stuff. But what people don't understand is that at this far end, at this calorie dense end, foods that are probably not the most helpful for fat loss are things like avocado, nuts, dried fruit. There are loads of foods that people consider healthy that are down this end. Now, I'm not saying that those foods are not healthy. They've got loads of nutritional value. I'm not saying don't eat them. If you love avocado, eat avocado. If you love nuts, eat nuts. But what you need to be aware of is when you're trying to lose fat, they're probably not the most helpful. And actually, there's some lower calorie options that would be considered unhealthy because they haven't really got much nutritional value that can be really useful to increase your food volume, like low calorie jellies, for example. So is this making sense? Hopefully I'm starting to show you that actually eating healthy foods isn't the answer, like to your weight loss goals. You can eat healthy and gain weight. You can eat healthy and lose weight. You can eat unhealthy foods. And in fact, there was a professor, you can Google this, Professor Haub. He invented the Twinkie diet, where all he did was eat confectionery, sweets, Twinkies, they're like an American thing. And he lost weight. He didn't eat any veg. He didn't eat any fruit. And because he consumed less than he needed, didn't matter what he ate, he lost weight and his health markers improved. His physical health improved. So that alone kind of backs up the point that if you lose weight, you will improve your health markers, irrespective of what is in your diet. Now, I wouldn't recommend just eating like what people would consider junk. I wouldn't recommend just eating foods in that less nutritious range. And the reason being is that it potentially will have a negative impact on your health in the long run because you won't get all the nutrients you need. The other thing as well is generally foods that are less nutritious down this far end are not very filling. And that's because they're processed. You're not having to do any of the digestion. So therefore, if you're just constantly eating that stuff, you're going to be hungry all the time and you're probably going to overeat. And that's one of the problems with eating foods high in sugar, high in fat, is that, or, you know, sweets or crisps or cakes, because not necessarily because of their sugar content, because actually chocolate, for example, is about 50-50, 50 fat, 50 sugar. And same with most confectionery. Like a lot of things are, you know, relatively even in terms of their fat and sugar. The problem is because they're processed, highly processed. And that mixture of fat, well, I'll go into that, because they're highly processed, they're not very filling. Therefore, you don't feel hungry. You don't feel full. You feel hungry very quickly. And therefore, you overeat and you eat more and more and more and you eat too much. So there's a way you can incorporate them into your diet daily, lose weight, feel full, and get results. And this is what we do with our clients. We show them that they can eat a chocolate bar every day. They can have a glass of wine every day. It is 100% possible. One of our clients, Natalie, has lost more than 40 pounds. She eats a chocolate bar nearly every day. You know, some of our clients are drinking a glass of wine most evenings. Not every evening, but most evenings. And they're enjoying it absolutely guilt-free. So they have that social health because they can go out and have meals with friends and family. They have the mental health because there's no guilt around food. And they have physical health because they're seeing results, they're losing weight. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and let me know if this is making sense so far and if this is helpful. And problem number 3, so talked about, eating healthy, not being necessarily how to lose weight. But one of the things that really is a big problem is a lot of diets will claim that they're giving you a healthy lifestyle. But the problem with this is they're only focusing on food, yet they use the word lifestyle. Any diet club that is only focusing on your diet and is trying to convince you that it's a healthy lifestyle, they're not giving you a lifestyle, because your lifestyle incorporates stress, sleep, activity, exercise, self-worth. Remember, we talk about health. It's about your social, your physical, your emotional, and your mental health. If you're going and doing something which doesn't account for all of these areas, i.e. your stress management, optimizing your sleep, getting you to be more active, your self-worth, your mindset, if it doesn't incorporate these factors, then it's not a true lifestyle approach. Okay, diet alone is not giving you a healthy lifestyle. And it's really, really important to understand all of these, because whilst we can talk about calories and all of that stuff and exercise, for most people understand kind of this stuff, but for most people, they're not doing it consistently enough to get results and see results because of these other factors. So I think one of the ladies commented on today's post, and she said, I'm not consistent. Well, there's a reason she's not being consistent, and it's about finding that out. Is it because she's going through menopause and she's having hot flashes and her sleep is really poor? Because if your sleep's rubbish, you can't regulate your appetite. And if you can't regulate your appetite, you're going to snack more, you're going to probably eat more. Is it because work is really stressful? A lot of the women we work with have demanding jobs, and they're looking after their grandchildren and they're looking after their kids, and they feel like they have to do everything for everyone. And because of that, they can't handle their stress. Stress actually can lead to water retention, can lead to eating and snacking. Like, all of these other factors are really, really important if you want a lifelong approach. If you don't take into account actually the full lifestyle, the full picture, it's going to be really, really hard to achieve sustainable results. There is a really small percentage of people that you could literally say, eat like this, away you go. Really, really small percentage. We've worked with, well, I would say between me and the coaches, we work thousands and thousands of people, and we've helped them achieve lifelong results, because it's about understanding the whole person and understanding all these aspects. And this is why we're not just a weight loss program. We're not just a diet. This is a lifestyle coaching program, because we have to find what's stopping you from being consistent. What's stopping you from doing this, not just for 6 months, not just a year, the rest of your life. If you didn't see my live today, I talked about this today. Like, when most people go to lose weight, they have a goal of the end goal, the weight loss in mind. Whether that's, a stone, 2 stone, whatever. But they're like, right, I'm going to lose this stone in 12 weeks. I'm going to lose this 2 stone in 6 months, or I'm going to lose X amount. But then what? So what I want you to think about tonight, and I want you to think about going away from this, is it doesn't end when you get to your goal. And this is why your lifestyle, this is why managing your sleep, moving more, managing your stress, working on your mindset, in having a diet that allows you to eat cake and go out for birthdays and have a social life. That's why all of that's important, because it doesn't just end when you get to your goal. Like the next step, and we've had women now that have committed to work with us for like anything between 6 months to 18 months because they recognize this, because it's about solving all the other things. Because when you solve them, actually sticking to any kind of eating plan becomes a lot easier. So I want you to think about, is this something, like whatever it is you do, whether you end up working with us, which is awesome, or if you end up going to do another diet or a diet club or whatever it is, I want you to ask yourself, is this addressing my overall health? Is this something I can do for the rest of my life? Or am I just doing this to get the weight off quickly again? Because what's happened, tell me, from all the approaches you've done before that you couldn't stick to long term, what's happened when you've stopped? What's happened when the diet's over? What's happened when you've reached the goal? Let me know in the comments. Tell me what's happened after. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Trying to make them a little bit shorter, straight to the point. I hope it was helpful. Now I'm going to open up for questions. So any questions you have about anything I've said, this is your opportunity. Just fire away. I'm here as long as I'm getting questions. I'll stay here as long as possible to answer those and help you out. So let me see if there's been any questions that I've missed so far. Let me plug in my laptop so it doesn't die. Okay. So May's worked with us. So May said, I don't stress about going out to eat anymore. I just enjoy it. Awesome. That's exactly what we want for the ladies to work with us. Sarah says helpful, makes sense. So Sarah Brown, what did you take away from this? Like, what are you going to change going forwards? Or what will be the biggest change for you? Yeah, so Sarah said, I go to diet clubs and I leave before getting to my goal because I just can't stick to it. We commonly hear this all the time. Women that either get stuck and don't get the help to get over that plateau. Like there's typically the response is, well, you mustn't be sticking to the plan, or eat green foods or whatever they are, speed foods. By the way, none of that exists. There isn't any foods that cause fat loss. In fact, there's no like pills, there's nothing out there in the world that can directly cause fat loss. Because if it did, it would be worth millions and people would be selling it for ridiculous amounts of money because there's an obesity epidemic. So, just reading some more. So Tracy said, how much do you class as a portion for rice, potato, etc., starchy vegetables? So Tracy, this is why we work one-to-one. Because actually for you, Tracy, it's going to be different than it would be for, say, Sarah. And this is the important thing to notice, like eating a balanced diet, again, is another term I'm not really a fan of, because a balanced diet for one person is different to a balanced diet for another person. Let's say someone's a plant-based, follows a plant-based diet. What's balanced to them and it is going to get them the nutrients they need, it's going to look completely different to someone else. So we work one-to-one so that each individual knows exactly what a balanced diet for them should look like. So they get enough protein, so they get enough nutrients, so they're eating the right amount of carbohydrates for them. And there is no like set amount. So it's interchangeable. So you could eat more at dinner and less, you could eat more one day and less another day. It's not like black and white. And again, this is why we work one-to-one, to help people to understand that, because your diet doesn't have to be rigid. In fact, that's the worst thing you can do. It's going to set you up for failure. Okay, so Julie, I've hit a plateau this week, no inch loss or weight loss. That's really normal. Don't worry about it. If you believe in what you're doing, just keep going. If you've been stuck for, I would say, more than 3 weeks, then something has to change. Okay, you have to change something. So plateaus are normal in terms of everything. Weight, inches, doesn't mean you're not losing fat, because the scale weight is impacted by water, which is impacted by how much salt you eat, how many carbs you eat, by sleep, by stress. It's impacted by lots of things. So you might have lost fat, but the scale weight won't show it. And that can happen for a couple of weeks. And when people get more stressed about the scale weight, that can actually, hide any fat loss. But if you are not seeing results after 2 to 3 weeks, if you're still stuck, after a couple of weeks, something has to change. Like you should be consistently seeing results, but then you will hit plateaus, but they should be overcome within 2 to 3 weeks. Otherwise, something needs to change. Yeah, May's put or a glass of gin. May's one of our ladies that's worked with us, so she obviously understands how to create that balance, how to have that lifestyle which you can enjoy. So Cocoa Pops are my fave. Cocoa Pops are nicer, Special K, white rice only. Any questions? Awesome. Don't get stressed. Brilliant. That's awesome, Julie. Just relax. Keep checking your progress, whether that be with measurements, pictures, weight, whatever it is, your clothes. Like use as many like progress markers as possible. And if in a couple of weeks' time still not seeing results, then something has to change. If you've been stuck for a while, then obviously what you're doing isn't the right approach long term, or something needs tweaking. Has anybody else got any other questions? Hopefully, people can understand now that eating healthy, one, is subjective. Okay, it's not, you know, it's not objective. There's no like there's nothing to measure whether your diet is healthy or not, like technically. So it's subjective. Two, eating healthy doesn't equal weight loss. Like you can eat healthy food, fruit, veg, all that stuff, and still gain weight. It depends on how much, it depends on quantities, it depends on what does your diet look like over a week, a month. And to have a healthy lifestyle, it's got to incorporate like everything. Like what's your sleep like? What's your activity like? What's your stress like? Are you able to enjoy yourself? Do you feel guilty? It's got to incorporate all those factors. It doesn't look like there's any other questions. And I can see people are starting to drop off now. So that's it. Thank you ever so much this evening for attending. Really, really appreciate everyone that showed up. I hope you've got a lot from it. I hope you starting to understand a little bit more about what is needed to get long-term results. My goal is to save people money, and that's it. Off we go.